In Caucasus, the news is that England and Israel are playing a game in Azerbaijan, making Russia and Turkey slightly uncomfortable. Israel using Azerbaijan as a staging ground to keep tab on Iran's nuclear ambition. England's role is quieter, and hence England's role is sneaky too. The goal is right now to screw Russia's grip on the Caucasus and the Black Sea. If you push Baku too hard, you might risk alienating your Azeri ally. Turkey has got big dreams of being the Black Sea's top dog. Jai Guru and welcome to this very short episode of Heartland Updates. Okay, it's an update video. Today we are going to dive straight into the murky waters of geopolitics in Caucasus. In Caucasus, the news is that England and Israel are playing a game in Azerbaijan which is making Russia and Turkey slightly uncomfortable. This game involves oil, this game involves drone, and this game involves, strangely, ethnic ties. Russia, you know, Caucasus is Russia's soft underbelly. So what is Russia's reason for discomfort? Because of this game which is being played by Israel and UK. Caucasus is Russia's underbelly ever since the Ottoman times. But Turkey this time round, incidentally and interestingly, has got reasons to be a little uncomfortable with this game of Israel and UK. Because it is caught between Azeri Jewish connections to Israel and the fear of United States flexing its muscles in Black Sea. So what's the big picture like? Let's first talk about the current Israeli moves in Azerbaijan, then we'll talk about the UK moves in Azerbaijan. Israel is cozy with Azerbaijan, we know that. Israel has been arming them during the conflict with Armenia, during the Azerbaijani conflict with Armenia. Now there is a different angle to it that Israel is pursuing in Iran. So we can do maybe a short video on that. That could come up a little later. For this video, let us just remember that Azerbaijan is a stone's throw away from Iran, very close to Iran. In fact, it shares borders with Iran. So Israel would have its interests in Azerbaijan. There are some other interests also. But as I said, we can do a video on that later. Other than that, Azerbaijan is a key supplier. It's about 50 to 60% of Israel's crude comes from Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan buys Israeli drones and Israeli missiles. Now there are reports from the Atlantic Council which has come up, which is painting a picture of Israel using Azerbaijan as a staging ground. Which means air bases for drones and intel ops to keep tab on Iran's nuclear ambition. Azerbaijan is the staging ground. This June 2025 strikes on Iran was also possible because Azerbaijan allowed Israeli sorties to fly through their backyard. More on that later. Coming to the United Kingdom, England's role is quieter and hence England's role is sneaky too. The UK has got deep ties with Azerbaijan's energy sector. BP has been pumping oil in the Caspian Sea since the 1990s. Other than that, London is the hub for Azeri elites ka paisa, Azeri elites cash. Those of you who know about the city of London might understand the score. Those of you who do not know about the city of London, you can read up a little about the city of London, or you can read it up in my book which is coming out, Contours of the Greater Game. When that comes out, I've covered a fair bit of city of London in there. Anyway, the UK is in this game to poke Russia while securing oil and gas routes that bypass Moscow. Now there is another site called Naked Capitalism which notes that United States and United Kingdom officials see Russia and Iranian influence in the Caucasus as unstable. So they are backing Azerbaijan to counter both. So Russian and Iranian influence in the Caucasus is unstable. So we are backing Azerbaijan to sort of establish a balance of power, a balance of control in the Caucasus region. Now typically this is classic British meddling. No skin in the game, just messing around because they can, and so they will. And they'll keep putting all kinds of weird ideas into your ear. This time around, they're putting ideas in Baku's ear to keep the region tilted away from Russia and tilted towards the West. A classic example is Ukraine. Ukraine was this close to the peace talk, this close to the ceasefire talk. Then Boris Johnson comes and blows the whole thing away. Zelensky goes back saying we don't want a peace deal with Putin. So there was a ceasefire talk, and this ceasefire could have taken place 2-3 years ago. Did not happen. Why? Because of Boris Johnson. So this is typical British meddling. So they're doing the same thing in Azerbaijan. What could be the goal? The goal is right now looks like it is to screw Russia's grip on the Caucasus and the Black Sea. Now Black Sea becomes important. I mean, you try to loosen Russia's grip on the Caucasus, understandable, it is Russia's soft underbelly. You are draining Russia in Ukraine, you would want to weaken Russia further. But Black Sea plays an important role because there are other powers involved. Okay, coming back. So the goal is, weaken Russia's grip on the Caucasus and weaken Russia's grip in the Black Sea region. Azerbaijan has also been drifting away, has been tilting away from Moscow since the Ukraine war, since quite some time now. And now they have gotten emboldened also. This recent Nagorno-Karabakh war that happened where they won because of Israeli and Turkish hardware, they have become quite bold these days. As far as Russia is concerned, Russia is distracted at the moment. So Israel and UK sees this probably as a chance to flip Azerbaijan into their camp, to create problems for Moscow. Now, raiding the Sputnik office in Baku, which Azerbaijan officials did, and beating up Russian journalists, it just happened in just about a couple of days back. Now, this could be the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, Baku is making itself clear by doing this, that, Azerbaijan, Baku, we are flexing with London and Tel Aviv cheering us from the sidelines. And we, as in Baku, the Azerbaijani government, we want Moscow to register that we are flexing. So it's a kind of a small game for them right now. Now we come to the part where Turkey is hesitating. Ideally speaking, Turkey should be happy, right? The Azeri brothers are getting help from none other than UK and Israel and so on and so forth. But they're hesitating. Why? Because unlike the UK, the Turkey has got its skin in the game. Azerbaijan is their one nation, two states wala brother. They have been arming Baku since the 90s. Very importantly, Azerbaijan is that physical connector to Erdogan's neo-Ottoman dreams towards Central Asian republics. And yet, Ankara is not diving headfirst into this anti-Russian party. Why? Two reasons. The Azeri Jews and the Black Sea. And now this is an interesting thing, Azeri Jews. Azerbaijan has got a unique Jewish community, mountain Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, and even some Kurdish Jews. About 12,000 in all, deep roots in Baku and another place called Kirimzi Kibasha. These are the only two all-Jewish towns which exists outside Israel. They have very strong ties with Israel. This is Israeli leverage in Azerbaijan. These guys are business-wise, they're pretty rich. Turkey cannot ignore that. Erdogan has been very vocal about Israel over Gaza, but Azerbaijan's oil has kept flowing to Haifa. Turkey has done nothing about it. Turkey can do nothing about it. And Turkey is caught in the middle because if you push too hard against Israel, you might risk, because this Azeri Jews are quite they hold a substantial amount of political clout. If you push Baku too hard, you might risk alienating your Azeri ally, who's very tight with Jerusalem, who's very tight with Tel Aviv, who's very tight with Israel. Then there's the issue of Black Sea. And the issue of Black Sea is the issue of sea power in United States' dominance. Turkey has got big dreams of being the Black Sea's top dog. I'll control the energy routes. I'll control the Trans-Anatolian pipeline. I'll control the Middle Corridor. I'll control whatever links Europe has to Asia through Azerbaijan. If Russia is weakened in the Black Sea, that would mean United States default. Russia weakens, United States muscles in. Now, if United States muscles into Turkey, that turns Turkey into a junior partner. FBRI points out to this balancing act of Turkey that Turkey would be happy to weaken Russia with Azeri gas deals, some of which might be repackaged as Russian gas, etc. But they don't want Uncle Sam to be running the show, especially in the Black Sea region. Because if the United States sets shop in the Black Sea, say through NATO's logistics corridor via Azerbaijan, then Turkey's influence shrinks. Erdogan is already pissed over the United States' support for Kurds in Syria. United States is not willing to listen to him on that. Now, Erdogan can do without another example of US generosity very close to his backyard if this happens in the Black Sea region. So that is why Turkey is a little hesitant. Looking ahead, how is it looking for Israel and UK? We are not going to comment too much on Israel's impact because this Israel thing is an ongoing affair. It's all too much in a state of flux. Unless this Israel and Iran chaos takes a definitive direction, we must reserve commenting on that one. Yes, the one thing that has come out of their new love for Baku is that now Iran has doubled their suspicion on Azerbaijan. Coming back to Russia, Russia is not happy about Baku. If this act of Putin rounding up Azeris in Moscow is a warning shot, then Baku might consider taking it a little easy for the time being. Plus, you have to remember that this is another very less discussed about point, that Israel and Russia have a strange working relationship because of the sheer number of Russian Jews that are there in Israel. One never know when Baku steps into some unseen Russian toes by trying to please its Western new Western partners too much, which pisses both Israel and Russia at the same time. So it's a very tricky game for Baku. There are plenty of variables out there which Baku is not fully aware of, let's say. So that is Israel's point. As far as the United Kingdom's point, UK is in the safe spot like always. It is playing a long distance game like United States plays. You presented across in the Western hemisphere of the world and you're creating problems in some other hemisphere of the world. It's almost the same for United Kingdom. It's settled nicely far up in the north, creating problems in the Caucasus region. Playing a long distance game. It is messing around with energy and diplomacy, and it is a kind of a long game for them. You have to remember, interestingly, this takes me back to the point where in history where United Kingdom, it was England then. England messed up Caucasus for a really long time, about 25 years. They postponed Russia's Caucasus ambition and Russian taking over of the Caucasus for 25 years. So England is an old hat in messing up things in Caucasus. England is doing once again the same thing. As far as physical concerns are there, they're less exposed than Israel. Yeah. There could be cyber retaliation. Russia could effect cyber attacks. Russia could effect gas supply squeeze. I'm sure they understand that. I'm sure they have worked it into their equation, whichever game they are playing. So both of them, UK and Israel, are at it for now. However, it is Turkey's reluctance that could jam their wheels. Because Turkey understands that with Israel and the United Kingdom and a weakened Russia, there comes uncle in your backyard. And Turkey doesn't want that. So my guess is that Turkey would be the one here, the only one here, the unlikely party here to stall this full-on anti-Russian pivot. And that is going to delay uncle's plan for the Caspian's logistics. So there was a point in time during the 17th, 18th century, I exactly don't remember, when England and the Ottoman Empire joined hands together to try and derail Tsarist Russia's Caucasian plan, and did it successfully for 25 years. Despite the Ottomans being very weak, it was England actually aiding and abetting the Circassian and the Dagestani rebels. Happening once again today, where England is needling Caucasus along with Israel, but the old Ottoman and the new Turkey looks at a fundamental difference. The old Ottoman Empire was helping England this time around. This time around here, Turkey is stalling a little bit. They would be happy to delay this Western plan for a Caspian Sea takeover and Caspian Sea, Black Sea, etc., logistics. Which might mean, on the score sheet, it might mean a half-baked victory for Israel and UK. Finally, coming to the bottom line, Israel and UK are using Azerbaijan as a geopolitical crowbar to try and pry Russia and Iran while securing their oil and their influence. UK is just happy to keep needling the players and to try and cash in whatever the results are. They are an opportunistic player in this game, nothing but opportunity for them. The Turkey is on board with this plan, but it is a little restless. The Azeri Jewish ties to Israel and the threat of United States' dominance in the Black Sea is what is keeping Erdogan from going all in. On the face of it, this looks like a classic Middle Eastern mess. Everybody's got an angle, nobody's got a clear win, and the whole thing could blow up anytime. But my guess is that this won't blow up, because we have already entered a phase in time where there's going to be continuous simmering protracted warfare all around the world without major blow ups. Israel has got its foothold while Iranian mullah is still standing. That presents another interesting angle. What was Israel's ultimate game plan in Iran? But for that, we'll have to wait for the next video. So that's all for today. Caucasus update for you all. And I'll be back very soon with a video on Israel and Iran. Till such time, stay sharp, be sharp, and I'll see you again soon. Jai Guru.